All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Travis and Brian. So next up, we have another USC student org. It's going to be Code the Change, which is really popular among lots of engineers. And representing Code the Change today, we have Carson Mogush, who is one of the founders of a project that's working with Friends of the Miracle Mile project, which talks about criminal record expungement processes and how tech can be used for that. So Carson, welcome to the stage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. So first off, I'd like to start by thanking ShiftSC for putting this together, and of course, all the other great presenters that are coming up tonight. So we'll start with our project, which is Code the Change, Friends of the Miracle Mile, Record Expungement. So to start off, what's our organization of Code the Change? We are a student organization at USC that is fundamentally at the intersection of community service and technology. So our main value proposition is that we do pro bono software projects for nonprofits every year. So what that typically looks like is taking 3 different nonprofit clients that are based out of LA and offering them our services to build some sort of software solution for a problem that they have. So we exist really at the intersection of community service and tech. And kind of what our organization looks like is we're divided up into different teams of developers and designers, product managers, and tech leads. And each team takes over a client for the whole year, and that's kind of what a project looks like. So some of the clients that we've worked with in the past is this one called Imagine LA, which is working to end cyclical homelessness in LA. River LA, which is focused on river cleanup. And then, of course, this year, the project that I'm tech leading for is with Friends of the Miracle Mile. So next, I kind of want to introduce you to the team because, of course, nothing's possible without everyone. We have Catherine, our PM, and then all of our great developers and designers. So they're really awesome, and we wouldn't be where we are without them. So now to talk about our client is the Friends of the Miracle Mile, and they are a local Pasadena community organization that kind of has a few different initiatives and helps to fund a number of other nonprofits as well. So they have sort of a jobs training program, which helps sort of underserved communities, specifically, people of color and other people who are disadvantaged in some systemic ways, to get job training and help in that way. They also have the Pasadena Media Foundation, which is helping local news in the Pasadena area, and they have a food relief program as well. But kind of where we come in on this is that the CEO of Friends of the Miracle Mile, Cheryl Turner, was really looking to start a new initiative this year about criminal record expungement. So I'll talk about that for a second. But basically, the problem is this, that there's a lot of people out there who have minor criminal offenses on their record, and that severely impacts their quality of life and their ability to live in a society. Anything like finding housing, in some cases, immigration services, education can be difficult with a criminal record, or finding a job. A lot of low-income people might be working sort of like a factory job or manufacturing sector, something like that. And there, if you have, something on your record, that can they'll just deny you from that job completely. So it really does affect people's lives very seriously. I think like a common example is marijuana. So like in the state of California, marijuana was legalized in 2016. But anyone who had an offense prior to that, it's still on your record and still publicly viewable. But it is eligible for record expungement. So that's kind of where we come in with Friends of the Miracle Mile. And what they wanted to do was create a program to help fund record expungement for these vulnerable populations. So typically, record expungement will run you, over $1,000 for the legal services. But once it goes through, you have it off your record, and you're more free to overcome those challenges, such as finding housing, finding a job, finding these other things. So it really, the record expungement program looks to help set people up in that way. So what were we tasked with? In order to launch this program, Friends of the Miracle Mile needed a web presence for their record expungement program. So over the process of the last 4 months, we've been working to build them a website to help serve those needs. So like here you can see the homepage of the website, nicely designed by our wonderful designers. And kind of what the program looks like is there's a few tiers. The first one is the expungement program, obviously, which I talked about, which kind of gets everything started. And then from there, we can take people into our other programs like job readiness and jobs training programs. There's a number of grants that Friends of the Miracle Mile has from the cannabis industry to help train people to work there with very good jobs, and they don't care about past criminal history from something like cannabis, and especially once your record's expunged, it's kind of irrelevant. So what the main crux of our solution is a form on their website to help collect 17 different data fields and information that we need to get the expungement process started. And then from there, Friends of the Miracle Mile reaches out to each applicant for expungement, tries to figure out a little bit more about what they need to help set them up in life. And meets with them personally, whether it's into the jobs readiness or the jobs training programs, or if expungement is just enough to kind of get them back on the right track. And I think it's kind of important to note here as well that our criminal expungement program is strictly for non-violent criminals, so more minor offenses. But here's our form, and where that goes is this service called Airtable, which helps our client be able to easily query all the responses and gain statistics and insights on who's using the program and reach out to those who need help. So kind of some of our takeaways from this project. We are mostly done. We just need to deploy and finish up a few little debugging things, but looking to launch in the next 2 weeks or so. But I think through this process, I've certainly learned a lot, and I think everyone on the team has. In terms of managing client expectations and delivering value to them. Sort of taking a vision for this expungement program that Friends of the Miracle Mile has and translating it into something more real was a big challenge. And I think for me as a tech lead, it was taking that problem and finding our solution and breaking it down into manageable bits that our developers and our designers can really attack in a smaller time frame, and then bringing those all together for a finished project. I think another thing that was kind of important in developing this project is making sure that it's really easy to use for our end users, which are those who are looking for criminal expungement. So it's been overall a really great project, and I highly recommend Code the Change as an organization if anyone's looking to get involved in that. But I think, on a broader note, there's some notes about just college students and, tech for social good. And I think at the bottom line, everyone kind of, wants to have this great idea that's way over the top and is really just gonna, knock it out of the park. And that's awesome, but that's really hard to do, especially as a college student. But I think what this project has really shown me is that there's people out there like Cheryl, our client with Friends of the Miracle Mile, who have the institutional knowledge and the funding to really make a difference, but they might not have the technical know-how. So I think that's where, as college students, we can come in with our tech skills or whatever skills you have, even if you're not in computer science, if you're in business, if you're in, whatever you're doing, you can add value to organizations like this. I think without our org being able to help, it would have been really hard for Friends of the Miracle Mile to get this project off the ground. So I think that's the main takeaway, is that, as a college student, you do really have tremendous value to give to the world and make a difference in people's lives. So go out there and get involved. So thank you.